I am Feel It.
And I am Fix It. And we talk about life.
And stuff and things.
With the occasional rant.
Which you will have no problem doing.
Hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. Whatever it is you're having, we hope you're having a good one.
Yes.
It's been... We planned on taking a week-long break and ended up taking...
It was 2.
Ended up turning into 2. So we're back. We're back. Sorry about that,
No, it wasn't anything significant. It just seemed like one life thing after another. And by the time we actually had time to sit down and do it, we were not in a good headspace to do it. We were both just ornery and tired and
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's weird how that works.
all that stuff.
Yep. But, hey, we're back. I don't know, that might have actually been a good show.
Yeah,
But-
that would have been great. Yeah,
Well, it would have been real.
that's true.
That's-
I mean, that's fair. Maybe next time we'll just do it.
I don't want it. Neither do I. Let's go record. Fine.
Well, that's how you would have envisioned that. Maybe. It is, so now it's Thanksgiving weekend.
Yep.
And, that post-gluttony, or maybe just continued gluttony for some people because,
Sure.
Multiple gatherings and things. It is a yucky, snowy weekend where we are. Of course, it is far worse north of us.
Yep. Back in the old stomping grounds? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, they were
So,
talking
I
up to
believe-
2 feet.
I believe Gaylord got, I read something this morning, 2 feet. The record of 25 inches,
Nice.
which they have not seen, I don't think, in a continuous
It's been
system.
decades.
A continuous system in quite some time.
Yeah, it's been decades.
I didn't actually read the thing, but
I mean, sure, it was 20 years ago, but it wasn't an uncommon thing to have
this fell
18 inches over the course of a night. I mean, that was not uncommon.
But yeah, I mean,
And
those were
then
substantial snow systems that were
and then
coming through.
Yeah, and then it tapered off, and it got to a point where if you got 6 inches, that was a heavy snow.
So this
Yeah.
was.
Yeah, it was a big
I
one.
don't know how long it actually was. Maybe 2 days. I don't think
Yeah,
it was.
it was
only
a big
2
one.
days. But anyway,
Yeah. Yep.
yes.
We missed that. I can't say I
don't.
can't say
actually.
No, we missed it, but I can't say that I miss it.
I mean, we got some here.
Yeah.
More than I like.
It was more. I mean, we didn't get a lot of snow. I mean, we got
It's still coming down. It's
Yeah.
coming down for days.
but we got maybe 6 inches, maybe.
Of the quote system snow.
But it's just with all
Gross.
the roads and whatnot, it's just so slimy and greasy on the roads. Everything's just
Ew.
yeah. It makes for terrible driving. And yet, everybody and their brother doesn't seem to comprehend that. It's slippery. I should slow down. Maybe I shouldn't try and run that red light, or
It's
I'll
the
wait till
first
I'm
big
at the stop
snow-
sign to hit the brakes.
It's the first big snowfall of the year.
Yeah, it's
I'm
like
sure emergency workers were
Oh,
going
yeah.
crazy.
Well, it's like the snow starts falling, so people's brains just get sucked out of their
It was
head.
a 15-car pileup.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving night.
Yep.
It was a 15-car pileup
Uh-huh.
just north of us.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
You're following too close, going too fast.
We were home
How
well
is
before
this?
that.
There's snow. You slow down, you give yourself more space.
We were home from our family gathering before that.
Yes.
We did go out again as it was starting to snow.
Yeah.
And it was a beautiful snow globe effect.
Oh yeah, it was it is
beautiful.
visually beautiful. But to drive was not a good time. I mean, I've driven in way worse. And I don't worry so much about me. I mean, I've had to figure out how to get around. But when you're talking about thousands of other people on the road that didn't grow up in feet of snow on a weekend, it's like, oh, we got 18 inches overnight. Oh, okay. That doesn't bother me. But, people down here, it's like a couple inches of snow and they have no clue how to drive in that. That's where I start getting concerned, because people are just, wow, dude, this happens every year. How do you completely forget every year?
Yeah. So we don't have a thing prepared. We're going to talk.
Yeah.
Let's just talk, shall we?
I mean, yeah.
So let's complain about the weather first. 'Cause,
Sure.
That's what everybody does.
Yeah. Well, okay. I complain. I don't like cold. I've never liked cold. I don't like dealing with snow. I have a huge snowblower and a tiny driveway, so, it's not that bad. All of my neighbors are very thankful because I typically help them out. But I don't like dealing with snow. I've never really have. Even when I was younger, it wasn't really much of a
I don't like snow.
Snow thing. It's just not my thing. But it's pretty. And once you're accustomed to dealing with it, it's not that bad. It's the people that aren't that always seem to make it terrible. Yeah.
We're living in the city.
Yeah, I mean, on the upside, there's a lot of traffic, and the roads are well-ish maintained. You live in a subdivision like we do, and it's like the plow might come through all winter, maybe 4 or 5 times.
Well,
and it'll always be right after I snowblow.
In the winters we've had.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, not to say this one won't be different.
It's like when it's bad enough for me to snowblow, I'll snowblow, and then the plow will come through.
And then trying to help an 18-year-old acclimate to driving regularly to go to work instead of just, knowing how to get the license and being capable, then it's actually doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a conversation.
Sure.
And also breaking a cardinal rule that we've had our entire relationship, which is you don't get a new vehicle in the winter. And what are we doing? What are we doing right now? We happen to be looking for a vehicle. So that's not fun. That's not particularly fun. I don't care for that.
No, not really.
I've got my options narrowed down at least, but
sure,
used vehicles right now, that's fun.
Awful. Yeah.
And trying to, be budgetly conscious, and
which is almost impossible to do.
Oh my gosh. And just finding them before somebody else does, which has happened to us already this week. And oh, bless you.
Pardon me.
And then, of course, handing off my vehicle to our daughter that's never driven it, because nobody was ever allowed to drive it, because that was the main vehicle.
Yeah.
And
anyway, that, and we have your Acadia, and then we have 2 passenger cars.
Mm-hmm. They're not used to.
They're
not used to big.
Yeah, very different. Very, very, very different. I mean, it's easily a foot wider. You're sitting easily another foot above the ground, 1.5 feet. You're, at eye level. Which she likes, except she can't tell where anything is. Because when you're sitting in that thing, you can't see any of your corners.
You got to get used to it.
Well, you can't see them. You have to kind of figure out where they're at, and that's the part that's freaking her out. Which, understandable, yeah. I mean, and they did kind of a stretch the wheelbase, so your wheels are closer to your corners than what she's used to. So you actually have to start turning like 2 to 3 feet sooner than what she's used to, because the wheels are way out there, and that's
this may or may not be a good idea.
That's just messing with her something fierce.
Yeah, I don't know.
But she loves the backup camera, which I'm on board with. I don't know if I've ever said it on one of these, but I despise most modern cars. I don't think there's a single car made today that's worth spending money on.
You haven't gone off about that yet?
No, I don't think I have.
Should I put a timer on and let you go?
Yeah, no. We figured out a while ago how to make ridiculously reliable mechanical cars. We got them to the point where, that specifically, there's a handful of cars specifically that were engine transmission combinations that have been made by GM and Honda and Toyota, and I can't attest to certain other ones, but that 200,000, 300,000, 400,000 miles is what you expect to get out of it in its lifetime. And when you had a failure, either the car fell apart, the body rusted out, or something major electrical went wrong, and you had to replace. Okay, now it's done. But the engine was still running. I've known people that had a Buick, or no, it was an Oldsmobile, and it had over 500,000 miles, and in its lifetime, it had multiple spark plugs and an alternator replaced. And I think some belts and stuff like that. But the engine itself was, just ran forever. And the weakest link in cars today is the electrical system. And we're slowly and slowly moving to the point where everything's electrical system. Your seatbelts don't work unless the electrical system is working. It's like your radio and your turn signals stop working if one of the computers is being glitchy. And it's all talking on 4 little wires, and all you have to do is get a bad connection in one, and everything's not talking, and now your car don't run. Because the sensor for your tire pressures isn't talking right, so now your engine doesn't work right. It's like, this is ridiculous. I don't need it. I don't want it. The most complicated thing in a car should be the radio. Like, that should be... I will, with a caveat, I hate carburetors. Too much twinking and fiddling, and you can't, it's like they're never optimum. You just kind of make them, you optimize for a certain set of conditions and hope you stay at those set of conditions, which doesn't happen, especially where we're at. I like fuel injection. I like the fact that it monitors on the fly and then auto adjusts, so it's optimum for the conditions right now, and I don't have to input. So, okay, engine management computer, sure, but my taillights shouldn't be involved. My seat position shouldn't be involved. The airbag should not be involved. They should be in completely different worlds, never talking to each other. Shouldn't care.
Do you feel like you had no time?
No. And and then the radio. And then then the radio. Now, anything that tells me more information is great. The backup cameras are awesome. Blind spot monitoring, especially on something like your car, where it's really easy. If you got everything, you think everything's set. There's a semi in your blind spot. You can't see it. So, anything that gives me info. Oh, there's something over there. Let me turn my head and look through the window. I shouldn't have to look out. Oh, look, a semi. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah.
Okay, how much more time do you need?
Just saying. It's like,
Okay.
So, a modern car just is like all of those bells and whistles. They're great until they're a problem. And then when they're a problem, they shut the whole freaking car down.
Yeah, I can't say, I'm super thrilled about some of that, but not that, because I'm not arguing with you. I know you're right. I've heard enough horror stories. And
One loose wire.
And even this
All it takes.
journey that we've had, circus is a better word, trying to find vehicles, we kept coming back to this rebuilt title concept that I had never heard of.
Yep. Nope.
Not
My
mainstream.
Well, technically, not this vehicle. The vehicle before, he totaled it. He totaled the car, and he got a check from the insurance company. He bought the car back from him, got a rebuilt title for it, put a new windshield on it, and drove it for another year and a half.
Yeah, I guess I've never heard of whole car lots that's what they do until now.
Yep.
Not that mainstream concept. It might have been random, maybe commercial vehicles, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But
Well,
I know I've been spoiled in many ways where I could just go back to the same dealer.
Yep.
And I was fine.
And that dealership doesn't even exist anymore.
And the dealership doesn't even exist anymore. Or even since we've been down here, there was, the process of finding what we wanted, and we got it, and we were good. But you're like, yep, that's a one-off. I'm not going back there.
Yep.
Whatever. It's just different mentality now, too.
Mm-hmm.
Very different mentality.
Yep.
So, anyway.
Well, and a decent used car right now is more than what our first place cost.
Frightening, isn't it? I know.
$15,000.
I know.
If you remember, I think it was $17,000 after financing and all that. We
like
paid
17 or 18.
Yeah, like $17,000 and change for the trailer, the brand new
It was
trailer.
a single wide, brand new trailer that we moved into when we first got married, because we had a very hard time finding apartments.
Yeah, nobody
that we could afford.
Yeah, there was no
in the areas where we wanted.
No
we
openings
were looking
at all. Yeah.
We were looked months before we got married, and and it was down to weeks, and we just were like, okay, well, let's just do this.
Yeah, we need someplace to live. This will work.
So,
And it did.
and that's its own story.
It is.
But we did. We lived in something, and we've said that a few times over the years. As of course, money has changed. Clearly, decades have gone by, but that this thing, like in this example, cost more than.
Yep.
You know, do you remember when?
And I like it less than the trailer.
And do you remember when? And we are blessed. We are very, very blessed for the situation that we're in. And it's not, I mean, it's hard. You shouldn't start comparing and contrasting, because with our particular set of issues through now almost 13 years of medical debt and one thing after another mounting up, I think we're doing damn good, honestly. Do I wish it was better? Yes. Do I wish it was even different? Yep, you betcha. But somehow, by the grace of God, and only the grace of God, we have been able to manage the way that we have, and it's getting better, right? It's getting better. So then now in the last couple weeks since we've been on, I did go see that specialist, and I cracked that joke with you, and we, did the high five in the car. Like, I'll pay for this one, honey. Yeah, yep. So,
Yeah. But there's that's its own kind of ridiculousness, though. To be
you know,
fair,
I'm just not right now. I'm just not.
It's like, holy crap! I don't. He's
I
got
get it.
the only job that's legal that can make that much money that fast.
I get it, though. I do. I 100% get it. And he was very thorough.
Yes.
And he had a lot to go through.
Yep.
So, a 2.5-hour intake is also not common. At least not for general medical exams, but he has that freedom because he does not accept insurance, and that's his business and his deal.
Yep.
And he specializes how he specializes, and thank God for it, and we'll see where that goes.
Most definitely.
I did a ton of blood work, and I'm getting ready to do a 24-hour urine tomorrow. Woohoo.
Yay.
Real excited about avoiding certain foods, the main foods I eat, to prepare for this test. Oh my goodness, excuse me. It's already been a weird long day.
Yep. But I made the clunk go away in your car, so that was a winner.
It's just a blah day.
It's
a blah day. It's a blah weekend.
Yeah. Yep.
Blessed to have a lighter week, right? Like, of course, that means I didn't earn money, but we could have that time together, and we could have the downtime. And of course, with more holidays coming, there's more downtime coming.
Yeah.
I have real things I will work on tomorrow, but not today.
Yeah. Well.
And
yeah, I just wish I had 2 days off, paid days off this week because of holidays, which awesome. You're paying me to not be at work. I'm game with that. You wanna pay me to not show up at work? I will happily take that check. But, man, I don't know if I've had a less than 50-hour check in like 6 months.
A few.
I could pull it up.
Yeah, you don't need to. It's been a few.
Again, it's like I've averaged for the year. I'm at 50.
And again, you've been blessed for that, and there's been circumstances that have led to that when a lot of other employers are literally shutting their doors permanently.
Yes.
So we don't want to complain.
Not complaining. Not complaining. It'd just be really nice if I got, it's like if I'm averaging 10 hours a day, then it would be kind of nice if the holiday pay reflected that.
That's
saying.
so true. I won't argue.
However, I get it.
I won't argue.
I get it.
But when we were discussing, when we have very, very recently, and I don't remember how long ago, in an episode where we were talking about holidays, and that shifts mindsets, and it does that for everybody in different ways. It's interesting how you'll read one thing that'll say that suicide rates really don't go up at the holidays. Depression really isn't worse.
Bullcrap.
You hear more about it. That's why it's just brought to the forefront more. It's not actually worse. And then you'll read something else that'll tell you, yes, it's worse. I will tell you, just in the last few weeks with the phone calls I've received from potential clients, yeah, that that it does change. Holidays do change people's mindsets, and
Well,
it's garbage to say that it's not actually worse. I think they're both you do hear more about it, but it is worse.
well, and I think something I saw this morning, I believe. I've got a coworker. His wife of 20 plus years got a very aggressive form of cancer, and she died. And they've got 2 adult teenage children, and it's been very rough on them. Been rough on them all, and he posted his tree in his living room. It was a fake pre-lit tree. Just snapped a photo of it, and his daughter commented, "It's like, I can't believe you put the tree up without us."
There's some feelings
There, and it's like, it's like that kind of thing.
But I know who you're talking about, and it's coming up on almost 2 years that their mother will have passed away. So that's fresh, man. That's still pretty fresh.
It might have been 2 years in life, but it's only been one Christmas. It's only been.
We're coming up on the second Christmas. That's true.
It's been 2 Thanksgivings. So effectively, it's been 4 days.
Right.
So when those big moments happen, especially big things, it's like, our birthday, whatever. Unless you have big life attachments to that, nothing, whatever. But Thanksgiving, it's like, whose family doesn't have people in it that they go a little bit overboard? They make too many pies. They get too much dessert. They get too big of a turkey. It's like they sit around and they play games and they laugh and they fight and they argue and they just have a good old time being people. Same thing with Christmas. It's like, you've got these big festivities. You've got these core memories and thoughts and feelings and all that are attached to those situations. And when you've got somebody that's not there anymore, like your mom, she's not there.
Kind of a big deal.
And it's like, please tell that person that it's not worse at the holidays. You sanctimonious POS.
It's usually like something bureaucratic or statistical or I don't even know. Like, what is the point of saying that it's not worse?
It's like, you know what? No, it is. It might not be.
Crisis calls do go up.
Let's say you've been depressed, carrying that load for, let's say this case, the kids. They've been carrying that load. Specifically, they lost their mom for 2 years. You're right. And that sore spot of that loss gets stabbed at Christmas.
That's real.
So it might not be, it's not new, it's not worse. No, but they're very, very aware of it.
Why don't you ask a medical professional that works the ERs around the holidays?
Yeah.
How many more ODs they see, or some type of substance abuse, just in general? How much more of that they see?
Yeah, they'll
lose, tell you.
It's like you lose that. You have so much more to cope with because there's so many things that flash back. It's like, I haven't had major trauma attached to holidays personally. Okay, you more so than myself. And part of that, I think, is who is involved, and part of it is how we're wired. Let's say.
Yeah, it's fair.
But I lost my grandparents basically in the 5th grade, plus or minus a little. And holidays still don't feel right because they're not there. That was 40 freaking years ago.
Your attachment style's a little different.
And not to say that things haven't been good, but man, I'll tell you what, I miss them so much. Like right now, the snow's falling, and there's lights up. And it's like, there's a part of me that's just really sad. And then my aunt that passed away a little while ago. When my grandparents died, she took on the holiday get-together
Yeah,
thing.
she's been gone now, what? Just over 2 years,
Yeah.
I think. Yeah. 3 years,
And
sorry. 3 years.
So it's like, okay. And she kind of took on that, not quite the host for the family. You know, she kind of made a point. So she's gone. It's like, okay, now then even more of that's gone. And then, you know, growing up, I had 9 aunts and uncles from my mom's side. I now have one aunt that's nobody seems to be able to get a hold of, that ever. Nobody knows where she's at. Nobody knows if she's alive or dead. They can't find any info on her. Can't get a hold of her. And an uncle and my mom. Like, okay, all right, that's like, so.
And he's much older.
Yes. He's one of the older siblings. So it's like there's a lot of those people, the core memory people, with just a lot of good times attached to them. It's like I become acutely aware of their absence this time of year. And again, I'm a little wired. It's like I tend to not be as chipper as I often am. It's like I have to make it. I strive to not let it win. It's like, this is life, and there's a lot of good going on.
There is.
And I can miss them, and that's fine, you know. But it's not fair to anybody else to let that loss be a major effect now for other
Even
people.
The client I started with it was last week. There are triggers.
Sure.
You're dealing with those triggers. But her husband had passed away 7 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Significant issues with one of her sons, very much related to it, that have been long ago resolved. But those things are now catching up to her,
Mm-hmm.
right? Been there, done that.
Yep.
And I can't go into all those details,
No.
right? That's what the book will be for. Books.
Yes.
That's what my books will be for.
Books. Yes.
But you can drop there the one thing every now and again that is relevant.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about making it about you,
No.
the counselor making it about themselves, but you can find the moments as they are appropriate to let that client know that you do have a semblance of understanding. Now, I have not lost a spouse.
Nope.
I have had loss
Yes.
in my life,
Mm-hmm.
and I have had traumatic events with
Mm-hmm.
loved ones, as this woman did as well, that built up to a point where there is no more balance. There never really was. You might try to make it yourself feel like there is, but there's a compensating.
Yeah.
And your brain that's kind of the overload piece of it. Of course, I
Well,
can't
you
go into
can-
great detail with it, but listening to her and knowing the holidays are coming and that being part of that discussion, and because the anniversary of her husband's death was the day prior to our appointment, and like, it doesn't matter if it's been 7 years.
No.
Because again, all of the things that not just that led up to his passing, but then happened right after,
Mm-hmm.
including the death of even of her own mother, that the pile-on. And if you don't deal with the pile-on, it will find its way back to you.
Oh yeah. Well, and
It will come.
Well, and there's so many. I want to phrase it the way I intend it. You're not dealing with one thing. You know, it's the loss of one person. Yeah, you're dealing with that person's loss, but you don't deal with that person's loss just by dealing with that person's loss. There's the 1,000 ways that your life was connected to their life. And you have to deal with each of those connections independently.
As they
like,
come.
You have to come
As you realize the
yeah.
loss.
Now there's the big ones, you know, there's the financial, there's the emotional support, there's the big things are, you know, you focus on those. And you get those under control and you figure those out, and it's like, okay, I got a handle on this. Oh yeah, that's great. that's great. You've just handled the 3 big things, or the 4 big things, the 5 big things. You still got the 995 other little ones that actually total up to more than the 3 big things in the whole volume of how they affect your life.
They'll come marching.
And they're different sizes, and they're going to show up at different times. You know, I'm talking to somebody a while ago, and there was a salt shaker at somebody's house that was just like the one their mom had. And they saw that salt shaker on the kitchen table, and they completely lost it. And it was like I never saw that coming. I just saw a salt shaker, and I lost it. I turned into a blubbering idiot because of a salt shaker. And it's like, no, it's not a salt shaker. It's a core memory that you emotionally just realized has been severed. And now you have to figure out how to heal that wound. It's like, guess what? It's a, you got that salt shaker, or you got the smell of cranberry sauce cooking on the counter with a little bit of clove in it that nobody else does except for that one person. And then, you just bumped into it again. It's like core memory pops back up, and now you just, I got to find something else. It's like the 1,000 little things. And it's like, well, it's been 5 years. How are you not over it? Like, 5 years, dude? 5 years? It's like, you want me to get over a lifetime when, no, that's not how this works.
If you're not actually,
You never get over it.
I can't really go down that line
Well,
and do it justice, but
you don't get over, you get through.
You get through.
And you develop, you learn how to heal on the fly. If you learn to do it, you deal with the big things, then you deal with the slightly smaller things.
It's
and
adaptation.
Then
it's not healing.
Well,
you will heal over time.
Just because the scars are always there.
Always
there. But they don't have to keep bleeding.
No.
And I mean, and there's not, I mean, my grandpa's hat is currently in a bin in the garage. I have had that hat since basically the day after he died. And I put it where I see it, but I don't always see it. Because I want to have that little bit of a reminder. If I see it all the time, my brain will tune it out. I don't want it to tune it out. I want that little moment. Like where, for a second there, it's sore again. You have to know my grandpa. You didn't. When conversing with my family, nobody but me had a good thing to say about him. For many, many good reasons. But when I had conversations with him, I would usually say that he was a terrible dad, a lousy husband, and a worse brother. But he wasn't that to me. I keep his hat around to remind myself to not be like him, because my nature is to be like he was. Love the man, learned a lot from the man. I am wired a lot like him. But I want that occasional reminder of who he was to me and who he was to everybody else. Which sounds weird, but it keeps me grounded.
So you feel like you're trying to keep yourself in check.
Yeah.
I wasn't trying to make this all like the gloom and doom and the grief and the stuff, but
no. But
of course, a lot of the literature out there right now, and I've received some things in the mail, like the counseling type of resources.
You get
grief, depression, anxiety. Yeah. I get a lot of them.
Yep.
Grief, depression, anxiety. I mean, those are the big things. All age ranges.
Mm-hmm.
I've definitely noticed the client call changes. the things I'm hearing from my colleagues. Like it's that time of year.
Oh yeah.
And then winter in Michigan, man.
Yes.
Like,
well,
whew.
you throw in a seasonal affective disorder, and
Which
then
is not a thing anymore.
Yeah.
I just blanked on what they call it.
But
But everybody knows that name.
Just because you change the name doesn't mean you change the thing.
Everybody knows the name.
It's like you can call it manic depressive, you can call it bipolar 1, bipolar 2.
I think it's part of the bipolar family.
You can whatever. You know what? You can call it. You didn't actually change the thing. It's still the thing.
I know. Nobody's thrilled with all the changes.
You can change the name. It doesn't change the
All the
thing.
stuff.
I don't give a crap. You can call, you can call my couch a Davenport. It's
grandma.
still the same POS piece of furniture that it was when you changed the name. Okay. Changing the name doesn't change the nature of a thing. Just deal with it. But you throw in that where the seasons just, decrease sunlight, affects your circadian rhythm and your hormone balance, resulting in moodiness. Okay? Whatever you want to call that. And then you throw in...
Subsyndronal. Oh my goodness. I think I just found it.
Yeah. Again, but...
Subsyndronal seasonal affective disorder or seasonality. That's the first thing that came up. I'm not going to go deep diving into all the stuff on this one. It's not something... I know they've changed the name.
Yeah.
But anyway.
But you throw in that.
It's still a real thing.
And then you throw in the holidays.
Mm-hmm.
And holidays themselves can be stressful. It's like if you're
lack
in that...
of money.
If you're in the
lack
young...
of work.
If you're in the younger section of that, it's like, you've got a young family that you're trying to take care of. It's like you want to make sure they have a good holiday. How am I going to pay for that? Christmas shopping can be a nightmare.
Oh my gosh.
Work can be a nightmare. It's like unless you're in retail, most industries start getting slow this time of year.
Or there's on the other side of that, there's the hurry up and get it done.
Yep. So you've got that. And then if you're a little bit older, you've had some loss in your life at some point. Whether aunt, uncle, friend, family, whatever. It's like what it could be. So you've got all of these... these big events that these people that aren't around anymore were attached to. So you can't have that Christmas tree without thinking about grandma and that stocking that she knitted you, or grandpa and the Christmas ornament or the truck that he gave you every year, or whatever it happens to be. All of those memories are attached. So now you're reminded of the loss of all of those. You put all that together. Yeah, you're going to have a lot of people who are just not feeling quite up to where they think they should be.
They have some feelings.
They got some feelings.
So,
and one of the things I'm a little annoyed by the whole thing is, why do people think that feeling bad is a problem? Sometimes you're supposed to. It's the natural.
We're in a culture where if you don't, then there must be something wrong.
Yeah, it's like just you're missing somebody that's not around anymore. It's perfectly okay to feel bad about that.
Must be diagnosable.
Your job is driving you batty. It's okay to feel some way about that. You're stressed about the holidays. It's okay. What's not okay is to let those emotions destroy something that could be so much better. I think that, again, not saying everybody that feels bad is going this route, but the suicide hotlines and the overdose rates and the alcoholism rates and all that, they skyrocket this time of year because people don't know how to cope. Something's wrong with me, so I must... No, you know what? You feel bad. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that. There are some times when things that are happening, feeling bad is the correct, healthy response.
Yeah, that's putting that simply. What did I hear on the radio? This was on Wednesday, because I was out and about every day. I only worked Monday. Like, that was the only day that I had clients. But I was out and about doing different things every day. And I forget where I was going, what I was doing. I'm out. I have been listening to Christmas music since I could.
Uh-huh.
Okay, November 1st. Been playing it a little bit more often every day. And now it's what I listen to in the car.
Which I've got to find my Mannheim Steamroller.
Oh, yeah.
Throw that in the CD player at work and put that on repeat
Mannheim
just to
Steamroller.
see if I can get Ray to twitch.
Which I did get you to get that tree up. Had to announce that, by the way. You did put it up for me.
Yep.
And we did only put lights on it, except for we do have the Bronner's decorations that we wanted to get up on it. I tried
Not
to
a
put mine on
sponsor,
it.
but we'd take it.
Not
a sponsor, but we'd take it.
Fair. And I wanted to put mine on it, and then of course there were no hooks, and that just didn't catch on the branch, and it fell off and it broke, and our youngest has been trying to glue it back together, but I don't know if it's going to make it. So what did I do? I tried to find therapist Christmas ornaments. Now I only went to Amazon. You know what came up?
That was the emotional spectrum wheel.
The emotions wheel. I said, sure, why not? So it is presently our tree topper.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing else on it but the lights. And now it's a discussion of, are we going to put more lights on it? And then the rest of the ornaments need to go on. This is silliness. But anyway, even if there's only 4 on the whole tree. Christmas. Trying to bring it more forefront. We did the shopping, right? We did the Toys for Tots.
Mm-hmm.
We had fun doing that.
Yes.
We got our daughter's friend's son his gifts way early just because.
Yes.
And we went to go meet, because since our recording then, there was the birth of another child.
Yep.
And we went to go meet that baby and then decided to bring Big Brother some gifts.
That little dude is very cute.
I know.
Admittedly, when they're a couple days old, they're just little snuggle. They snuggle and eat. That's about it.
About a week old when we met him.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Very cute.
So
I got my baby time. Made me very happy.
I know. We have nice photos of that. And then just trying to have just Christmassy things made. And I was listening to the radio,
Mm-hmm.
and it was that station. Had to come back around to my point. It was, I don't remember which one of the 2 local Christmas radio stations we have that are playing Christmas is one of those. 167% alcohol consumption increase the day before Thanksgiving. And according to what he was stating, that's equated to the amount of people that go visit those loved ones and then go out to eat and then drink. It's like a really big coming home type of way of celebrating, which has truth. But the other side of that you're probably not going to hear the more prevalence of is it's because also all of the stress that increases so heavily, and then people will medicate with alcohol, and that also is part of that. Because I will also bet you, if you talk to any liquor store owner, they will tell you that the sales increase quite a bit.
Oh, yeah.
Over the holiday months.
Oh, most definitely.
So just like a medical professional would tell you that they see more in the ER and overdose related, the crisis call center worker will tell you that they hear more. I am a mental health professional, and I will tell you, in the few years I've been doing this, it does go up. There's something to it. Mm-hmm. And there's a purpose for all of that.
Yes.
We've joked. I mean, we didn't know what Thanksgiving was going to look like. There's some politically charged stuff going around.
Oh, yeah.
My colleagues and I have been talking about that. We've all had the clients that have talked about how upset they are about the election. And this isn't like a huge political forum, but I'm going to just throw this out there for what it is. I mean, we didn't know how it was going to roll. We didn't know the comments that would be made. Yes, comments were made. They were made. But we were ready for it. We were in the headspace. We did our best to deflect, move on, not make it a thing. It could have become a much bigger thing. And what I found absolutely hilarious was our now adult daughters also caught on. They also heard the comments and were like, ugh. Because when they're there and they don't get it and they might hear the things, they're not in a cognitive place where they understand why it's a big deal. And now their cognition is changing of why that stuff can be a bigger deal. And what does create the stress of holidays, right? It's like making everything's perfect and everything's done. It's the people you're around. It's what you talk about. It's how stressful is all of that. Our youngest picking up on the host. The host's parents are not blood related to us. We went to your cousin's home, and then it was her husband's parents that were present. Yes. Picking up on some of that passive aggressive stuff coming out of his mom. And honey, this is the holidays.
Yep.
It's not National Lampoons, babe, but this is what we got.
Yep.
This is what it looks like.
Well, and you you got to be able to read the room. Some rooms you can have a sporty conversation. It's like, we disagree on this topic. Please, I think I've said it before. I enjoy a good conversation with people I disagree with.
That was not the time or place
That is
to
not,
go there.
not in any way,
was
shape, or form.
absolutely not.
That, and it was,
Absolutely
it was
not.
like 10 on 4.
Yeah, absolutely not gonna go. No. But I did realize, and I did make a comment about, I mean, he has an amazing bar going on in that basement. But
Yeah.
I did comment, I'm like, you
The
seem to do
safe
this like
under the bar.
every
I thought
time we
was
do
pretty
this.
humorous, actually.
right.
But, yeah.
Every time there's a get together, and I know they drink more than that, but still,
Sure.
it was just a very comical,
Mm-hmm.
like, yep, bring out that booze, go ahead,
Have at it.
It's your parents that are coming. That's fine.
Yeah. No.
However, just to say, it's interesting now watching our children understand a little bit differently about holidays. And since our holidays, we are reshaping how we want them to look and
Yes.
and beginning the traditions and meaningfulness. But understanding it's a stage in life where they're going to have jobs and they're going to work, and you can't just kind of do what you want when you want. We know people that go away, for weeks at a time, and good on them. They can do that.
Oh, yeah.
That's not the life we have.
No.
It's not the life. I mean, it's not the job you have.
No, it's not the job
I
have.
could theoretically work virtually, but you cannot.
I mean, I like getting away. I mean, yeah, let's get away. But man, I don't know if I want to do it for a holiday. It's not. There's something about home that adds to that. It's like that comfortableness of home. I love seeing new places, going to new places, seeing new things. I've done it a number of times over the years. But that's for that sake of doing something new. It's like, I like the hominess of holidays. I want it to feel like it's a warm, comfy hug of kind of a holiday. I want that kind of, you came through the doors and you felt like you got hugged, even if you didn't. Come on in, take your shoes off. You want sit down. You want something hot to drink? Here's a blanket. Stay toasty warm. It's like, you like the cinnamon or do you prefer mint? Because I got both. Would you prefer? I like that. I equate. That's part of my mental equation for what like Christmas is. Now, even if it's not my home, I want it where I go to be home. Got that kind of ethereal quality of home. I want it to be homey. And if it's not homey, then why are we here for
But
this?
I think that's why, I mean, the last few years of my mother's life, we were away. We were not up north near her.
Mm-hmm.
And that was harder on her. I know she didn't like it, but that was the necessity to find the better paying job that would carry the load.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to say, in the long story short of it was being saddled with a debt that I'd co-signed for my mother when my mother purchased a business that did not continue the way she'd hoped.
Yeah,
and then
weird how that works.
I had co-signed. So then it legally became mine when my father refused to continue to help pay for that.
Mm-hmm.
We're just going to sum that up that way.
Yep.
And all of that went down literally months before we'd made the choice. Now, mind you, you were unemployed and I had a few part-time jobs that we were trying to get by with. I think at one point I was up to 6 different part-time jobs.
It wasn't working.
And it wasn't working.
Nope.
No, it wasn't working. And you were going to school. And
think
I was going to school.
You were like working one of those jobs just to pay for gas to go to the other jobs.
It was kind of dumb. But we were doing what we could, and everybody was at the time.
Yep.
It was awful. It was 2010 that went down. 2010.
Yeah, we moved down to 2010.
And we just knew it was going to become necessary to leave northern Michigan, unfortunately, in much more so given the financial circumstances.
Yeah,
but my mother
it was terrible up there, unfortunately.
always struggled.
Yeah.
She always struggled with that concept that we were away.
Mhm.
And the holidays couldn't always happen on the holidays, whether that was your schedule to be able to work, to pay bills, or that was the weather. Because I then reached a point where I said, I'm tired of risking my life to make sure I get to you on a holiday. Because there were some storms.
Yeah.
There was some stuff that we would drive through. And I was like, why are we doing this?
Yeah, my bar's pretty high for that. But yeah, there were times where like,
This is dumb.
I still the worst one ever. I'm gonna sidetrack just a second because I got to share this one.
And this was years prior.
Years prior.
Years prior.
We were coming. I want to say
Cadillac.
Well, I mean, it was in Cadillac. I think we were further south than
Oh,
that.
we were probably like, it was
I think
probably
we were-
Grand Rapids.
I want to say we were coming back from Grand
It
Rapids,
probably
but
was.
we get around Cadillac, and it was a snowstorm, and it was bad. I mean, like, terrible bad. And, like, the accumulation wasn't so much the issue, though the roads were pretty much covered and you couldn't see squat. It was the fact that it was coming down so hard that I couldn't see the end of the car. You couldn't stop, because if you stopped, you're not moving again, and you become a snowbank in the middle of the road, because you can't tell, are you in the middle of the road or you're on the shoulder? No dang clue.
It was frightening.
Like, I turned my headlights off and had the parking lights on just to decrease the glare, and I could see maybe 6 inches in front of the car. So I'm sitting here doing like 5 miles an hour, praying to all.
Plowing the road at some point.
Just like, okay, oh, there's a reflector. That's the shoulder. Okay, I'm going to move this way just a little bit. And just.
It was bad.
Miles. That's
Bad,
it was easily a couple hours driving like that. It was, so my bar for it's crappy is really high. Like yesterday was, 0 is a absolutely gorgeous, hot, sunny day. Roads are nice and sticky, and there's nobody on the roads. And all of the deer moved to Florida. That's perfect. That's 0 hazardous condition. And that trip back through Cadillac is 10. Yesterday was a 4.
Yesterday was the roads more than.
But the other people on the road
in the city
made it like a 7.
Not an empty freeway.
No.
What we were on that night.
Yeah.
No, being in the city when it's coming down so bad, like yesterday.
Just watching everybody everybody was sliding
awful.
through crap and going sideways, and
like,
tail ends are spinning out. I'm like, dude, all you got to do is slow down.
And the ironic of the ironic, yes, we had errands to run, some things we needed to do that didn't get done Wednesday. But the ironic of ironic was to go out to get a belt for the tractor to come home and snowblow. That's why we were out the second time when it was that bad.
Yep.
Because you bought the wrong one to begin with.
Yep.
And then we had to go and get tires on my car because it was very obviously past time. I said, yeah, this ain't going to work.
Yep.
And it's not okay for our daughter to continue driving
she was not driving in that streets with those tires. No.
So I said, all right, because it's supposed to snow like every day for the next week. I'm like, clearly this is, we're in winter right now. And anyway.
Yeah, we're like 8 hours away from December, so yeah.
I know, right? I mean, we've been pretty spoiled the last few years.
Yes,
but to come back around to my point, my mother always struggled, and there was always that guilt and that stuff about Christmas, right? Mm-hmm. About like not being there on the holiday, and then,
but 2 hours of driving in that was
but she was Christmas.
Yep,
that hominess that you were just describing. To me, what made it okay to pack up our kids and our gifts and our stuff to be up there, which I was not accustomed to, right? We lived across town. We at one point down the road.
Yep. At one point, a quarter of a mile,
to go hours for a holiday, I was not accustomed to. You were not accustomed to. And what made part of that worth it was the hominess, and that that was home.
Yep.
That was where I grew up.
And your mom had a knack of going over the top in ways that just...
It was ridiculous.
It was ridiculous.
So ridiculous.
Yeah, well, let's see. Okay, there was you and me and the girls and your mom and your dad and your sister. So that's 7 people. And there, I guarantee there was enough food on that, not just the table and the counters for easily 24 people. And there was probably about 50 pounds of butter used in a weekend. It was just absurd. It was so good. And you left so fat. It was
So disgusting.
You can just feel yourself getting fatter walking into the room. It's like, oh, yeah, But yeah, no.
And that didn't last forever because
No.
the weather was so awful every year. And you're like, I cannot guarantee. And it was that way, and it is that way to this day with any family event that's more than an hour from us. Which
is
the
basically all of
all
them.
of mine.
Yeah.
It's
That, I mean, we were on the road for an hour just for Thanksgiving. So yeah, I mean, it's
sure.
like that's everybody at this point.
That is everybody at this point. Yeah. It seems that we've kind of built a tradition. There's a particular your family that that particular family will go to for Thanksgiving, and then Christmas we're home.
Yep.
And that's just what we've done. That's how we've built it and created it, and trying to create the traditions. So I figured out one. I was glad I figured out one. It seems kind of silly, I know, but what we're gonna do is I will pick out the family pajamas every year, hand them out on Thanksgiving. And then, you can certainly wear those between now and Christmas, of course. But Christmas Eve, then you have them to wear on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day when we sit around in our pajamas and eat whatever food, because that still stands, where I will buy them whatever they want. And our oldest does her elf spaghetti.
There's going to be some stupid and some silliness.
And you want your, what is that sausage? The mushroom?
Yeah, the portobello, not portobello, the Morale and Swiss summer sausage.
Yes, you love that. That's your new thing. From
the Dublin Jerky Company. Not a sponsor, but hey, I'll take it.
You love that stuff.
Oh, it's phenomenal. It's like I'll spend like $30 for that stinking thing, but it's really good.
I might break down and get like a whole pound of that salmon jerky from Horrocks, also not a sponsor.
But we'll take it, just saying.
But it's amazing stuff.
It is really good.
And you were talking about this stuff. And it's not a dreadful thing.
No.
I think this year is a lot of fog has finally lifted for me, for both of us, I think in a lot of ways. And I know things are different for our daughters, and particularly our youngest daughter, who's just kind of grasping the whole legal adult, not looking as she would have thought, not moving in, not now currently living in that apartment with that friend.
Nope.
That she the plans that they had, like those very young, naive plans, but they were their plans, right?
Yes.
That was going to be the thing, and then she was going to give herself time to work and then save money to go to school and all that stuff. And I'm not saying it didn't happen because our economic world sucks right now.
Yeah,
that was not entirely it.
That doesn't help.
Nope,
but
that's not what happened.
No. Well,
but she's coming to terms with that. She said it out loud, and she's moving forward.
Mm-hmm. Which you have to do. And
so now we're going to be talking about, okay, all right, it's time then. When are we going to sign up and get you ready to go for January to start school, to start college?
Yes.
So.
Yeah, start slow. You need to maintain the momentum, and that always starts, it's like, or regain the momentum. So then that starts slow. But once you get going, start driving in that direction,
Well, because of the program she's utilizing, it's not the same stresses as it is working directly with a university.
Yeah, it's a little different, but it's...
But it's legitimate, and it's what she started with, and it's what she's going to continue with. And just a conversation that we had.
Yeah, and...
Tuesday.
I mean, she's still dealing with those disappointments, but, that's... Such is life. Whenever you're tying your life up with someone else, their actions and the consequences of those actions affect your life, even if you don't want them to.
In any relationship.
Anytime you tie yourself to somebody else in any way, there's a level of you're opening yourself up to some randomness that you have no control over. And sometimes that completely derails everything that you had in mind. And that's kind of, she learned that lesson really hard, really fast.
And she's holding her friend's second child
Yes.
in a year and 4 days, was it?
Something like
5
that.
days?
Something like that. Yeah.
A year and 4 or 5 days between children?
I mean, there's something to be said about getting it over with.
And she's
but
barely 18.
gee whiz, kid, come on.
Oh, we love her. We love her. We've loved her.
Oh,
We'll
yeah.
love her through it. And
Yep.
we know their relationship
you know
has
what? We're-
definitely changed.
Yep.
But
And, you know,
there's
well,
nothing left to say about that.
No, she is very well aware of the fact that, you know, she needs us. We're there. It's like, we're not going to impose ourselves, but if you throw up a hand and say help, you know, okay. Yeah, we got you.
She has the support of her family.
Yeah,
And
she does.
it's the same father for both children, and she's
Yep.
with him, and they're together. So, I mean, there is all of that.
Much to their family's chagrin.
Fair. I think both sides at this point, but fair.
Yeah.
But that's them, right? And
Yep.
that's them, and that's
Yeah.
not us. And
Nope.
we're doing our best to help our daughter kind of move past those hurts and disappointments.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And it looks weird for us too.
Yeah, and
So we're like, yeah, okay,
Yeah,
how can we make
so, yeah.
life different and special? I don't
Mhm.
know, man. I don't know from one day to the next.
Nope. you gotta,
I don't know.
you look for the opportunities, which, you know, we strive for.
And what is it going to look like for her to start to go to school when
When
life is already stressful? Well,
Yep.
it's stressful because she works retail. That's why
Yeah,
that's
well,
stressful. Right
yeah.
now, that job is stressful no matter where you are. That would suck.
It's retail, and it's
It's food service inside
it's
of a
food
market.
it's food service, sort of,
But it's inside of a shopping market
inside of a market.
that people tend to have expectations and ideals.
Yes, and it's unfortunately it's kind of low skill labor, so the bar is really low for the quality. Well, I don't want to say low quality people. Actually, that sounds really derogatory. I don't want it to sound that way, but
She's learning what it's like to have different coworkers.
it doesn't. You know, it's work that doesn't require a lot of skill and a lot of discipline to attain. Let's put it that way. So the people that have the job, they don't have, you know, might not necessarily have a work ethic. They might not have the ability to follow certain instructions.
And we've talked about
or
that.
are being
Learning
self-motivated. It's like, yeah, guess what?
Learning moments.
When you're at an entry-level job, you're going to get entry-level people.
This is what this is.
That's what it's for. And you know, that's what those jobs are for. It is for the people that, I mean, there's, this is old stuff, but it was really popular 20 years ago, but it was demotivators. It was the opposite of the motivational posters. And you remember these?
I sure do.
Yeah. And there was one that struck me. It's absurd in its simplicity and its accuracy. And it was a picture of, you know, that perfect little McDonald's bouquet of French fries, that perfect little poof of French fries. It was a photo of that, and it said, potential. Face it, not everybody gets to be an astronaut when they grow up. And I mean, that sounds mean, but at the same time, you know, let's be honest, the reality is not everybody has the same, everybody's different. Everybody is wired different. Everybody has different capabilities and max potential. And I'm not being, not denigrating anybody, but there are people whose max potential is the fry guy at McDonald's. I want them to get that job. I want them to have that job, and I want them to excel at that job. If that's the most that they can attain, they have to work their life to get to the point where they can pull that off. More power to you. Great. I'm glad you have that job. Unfortunately, not unfortunately, but it's like, but everybody has to start there. And then you move up. And when you're somebody who is potentially a manager, your mindset is manager potential, and you're working there with somebody whose potential is fry guy, they're going to drive you nuts. And even if it's like, she might not be manager per material. In all honesty, I think she probably could be. She's got that kind of mindset. but she's working with somebody who might be the fry guy, and it drives her absolutely batty. Absolutely batty.
Yeah.
It's like,
She's not alone.
She's not alone.
apparently, but
She's not alone.
but-
But it's like you need to learn. This is where you learn how to deal with people that don't have your potential, that don't have your gifts, that don't have your mindset or your upbringing. It's like, this is where you learn that, and it will drive you nuts. But that person that you're working with should never know that it's driving you nuts. Pull your hair out in private, but that person that you're working with should always feel like that you respect them for what they do.
that is what we have tried to teach her. Yes,
You know, that's like, yeah,
repeatedly had that conversation.
yes. We've had conversations circling that a lot. And I think she does pretty well. But man, I'll tell you what, having been in similar positions, yeah, it'd drive you batty on occasion. Absolutely batty. That's one of the reasons I kind of like working in the skilled trades. By the time you get to where I'm at, I don't have to interact with many of those people anymore. You don't make it to where I'm at. You're not in my department. You had to get there through hard work, dedication, education, and mindset. So I don't have to deal with that anymore. But when I was an operator or a leader, you know, I was like a supervisor's assistant and a mold and a die setter and a material handler. It's like I had to work with people who you're working with them for 10 minutes and you realize, like, this job might be beyond you.
Mm-hmm.
And all that person knew is I was there to answer questions and help them out and aid them in their...
Honey, your job is beyond me.
Yeah. It's like, well, okay, sure. And I don't have the mindset and temperament to deal with your job. So, you know, it works.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Just saying.
Oh, we're over. So before we end, I mean, we try to keep to an hour-ish, and we were just talking this time. So, before we end, I wanted to, it's an interesting little shout out, right? So when you're in the car for hours, as we have been a few times in the last couple weeks,
Sure.
sometimes if we have the reception on our phones well enough, long enough, I'll be like, yeah, let's listen to a podcast. We came across one that was crazy entertaining. Loved it. I know I'm slow to the game if other people have heard of it, but, oh man, it just went out of my head already. Hold on. I had it pulled up. I know it's already been one of those days.
Yeah.
I wanted to share. Small Town Murder. Small Town Murder. It's actually hosted by comedians from the description. We listened to a couple of them that were Michigan based, and one of them was actually super local, and I do remember hearing about it on the news. So hearing the details that they had was just wow, but hilarious. Little raunchy here and there. And not raunchy, but just like, you know, I don't know, some language here and there.
Yeah, and they did not shy away from details of these horrific crimes.
Not at all.
Yeah.
And I've listened to some other Michigan-based ones that, I mean, I'm shout out Michigan. Hello. I mean, you know, Michigan girl, born and raised. Probably not leaving. But I like humor. So there's been other ones I've listened to in the past. I don't even know if the one really exists anymore. I think she's morphing into something else last I read. But I like detail. I like accuracy. Delivery is very important, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't listen to podcasts a lot, but I want them to be enjoyable. I do tend to bend toward true crime. I mean, you know, Crime Junkie was there forever.
Yeah,
that's just me. It's not always you. So when I was looking for things that you care for, like there was like a funeral home one that you really liked.
Oh, that was hysterical though. I mean, it was not. I felt
now I'm gonna look that one up just because I want to give.
It was Tales of a Mortician. It was Real Tales of a Mortician or something.
Oh no, I'm gonna look it up.
He was. Whew. Yeah, some of his stories. Holy crud! Yeah.
My funeral home stories. My funeral home stories.
Yeah. He hasn't updated in a while. But,
there's some other ones that we've listened to that were just like historical or I don't know, informational, because that's what you like. That's your thing, and I was never against it per se. I just, if you may or may not hear him messing around with the microphone pedestal that came off, so I'm just holding it. But anyway, to find balance, I was looking for something that was a little more comedic, and I hit it right out of the gate. And he had some really long ones too, which also helpful again on that super long drive, because we've had a few. But I had to give a shout out to that because I really, really liked that one. And we're going to continue to listen to that. And we happened to listen to one, I didn't even realize how recent it was, but it was pretty recent. And then, again, we'll only listen to a couple of the Michigan-based ones. But, yeah, just wanted to give some shout out there. That was a really, really good one. And, oh, are you looking something up?
No. Just had something buzz on my phone, just double checking, making sure it wasn't important.
Oh,
Well,
that's true.
We took our daughter to work,
Yep.
and
We needed both cars.
yep, yeah. Well, I was working on one. If I needed to run out for parts, I needed the second car. Anyway, so it's like she's on the schedule till much later, but stuff happens. So the phone buzzes. I'm looking. Anyway, we're good.
Anyway,
It's all good. Yeah.
I just want to give a shout out there. That's a really good one. About murder, crime.
Sure. Yeah.
But I mean, I like the ones that have like the paranormal. You do not do. That's not your thing. But like
My thing.
disappearance, we've listened to some of those that are kind of on
Sure.
the true crime vein.
Did they disappear or did they leave? There's
Yep.
That's always the question.
But anyway, had to give a shout out there. They're pretty awesome. So I don't know. I mean, we're still in the midst of the holiday season. We'll see what else we end up talking about, whether or not it's holiday themed or not.
Yeah,
We'll see.
Who knows?
We'll see. Maybe we'll
possible.
actually have a topic next time.
It could happen.
We have more
could
life
happen.
and stuff and things coming up.
Oh,
So
yes.
we got to plan for that.
So much life and stuff and things.
Yes. That's okay. It's that time of year.
It is that. Yes, it is.
It
Yes,
is. Okay. But we'll end for today. Did you have anything to add?
No, I think I'm good.
Okay.
Uh-huh. Yep.
And thank you are not yet sponsors for allowing us to speak your names.
Yep.
Anyway.
And if you don't like it,
And we didn't even talk about the other fun things we've done. Oh, man. I'll just add it real quick. Just super quick.
okay.
I saw Red One twice. I went once with a friend, and then I went with you.
Yep.
That was fun. That's fun.
It was entertaining and weird. Okay, that was.
It was a little unexpected, but it was fun.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep. Wouldn't say it's going to be a new Christmas classic, but it was entertaining. Yeah.
And we have never gone to see a movie on Thanksgiving. And holy crap, was that place busy.
Yes.
So we went later in the evening thinking it actually might not be as busy. And that was backwards.
Oh.
I was totally wrong. But wow. We'd never gone again on Thanksgiving before. That was a little different. But that busyness made my head hurt. But anyway, I'm going to toss that out there. Saw that. That was still worth it. It was fun. It was different. I don't know if it's a new Thanksgiving thing that we'll do. It just happened to work out.
Not, but
It happened to work out that we could go, and then our oldest could go with us. But Red One was funny.
it was funny.
That was funny. So,
Yeah.
tossing that there. Now we're done.
Okay, you sure?
Yes, for reals.
Okay. So, I'm Fix It.
I'm feeling it.
We hope you join us in the future.
Until next week.
Y'all have a great one.